Westberg in the States playing some Magic. As you mentioned, he was in the States for a little Hearthstone activity. Realized there was a tournament here in Dallas, said, I want to play, and playing he certainly is. Still in top 8 contention.
Yeah, Tanning Grace chauffeured him to the tournament site.
Oh, what a guy.
Yeah, actually did not play in the tournament, but just came to kind of bird and hang out with John.
A swamp here off of a Verdant Catacombs. Now here's Inquisition of Kozilek. We have an island, a Snapcaster Mage, a Spell Snare, a Deceiver Exarch, a Lightning Bolt, and there is also a Sulphur Falls. So we'll see exactly what card Westberg wants to take here off the Inquisition, as Bernard's going to shortcut a little bit.
So the best thing about Abzan in this matchup is that it doesn't really care about Lightning Bolt that much. There are no Dark Confidants. There are a couple copies of Scavenging Ooze, but not really a big deal. I mean, it does shut off Snapcaster Mage, but not really too concerned with having your Ooze live in this matchup. So could see John take the Deceiver if he's a little light on ways to deal with the combo. Otherwise, might see him take Spell Snare if he wants to sneak a Tarmogoyf in there, or he might just take the Snapcaster Mage.
Plenty of options available as Westberg's going to write down the hand here for Bernard. And in just a moment, John will select a card. Going to consult his hand, where there is another land there in Verdant Catacombs. Looks like the Maelstrom Pulse might be hanging out too. But a pretty good hand here for Bernard. A hand I think you're going to keep every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's got that card face down. That's the land he's going to search up with Scalding Tarn. Player's trying to save a little bit of time.
Yeah, it might be the Black Source. Maybe he wants to hide that.
Looks like it's going to be Deceiver Exarch. So away that goes. The land is the Black Source. It's Watery Grave. Now we head back Bernard's way. Splinter Twin the draw.
All right, makes taking Deceiver Exarch look pretty good.
Yep.
Still short the second red source.
Sulphur Falls was the draw. Or excuse me, was the land. Here's a Verdant Catacombs. Westberg with another discard spell. This time it's a Thoughtseize.
And this is why the black-green decks are generally favored against the Splinter Twin decks. Just the sheer amount of discard in these decks is really hard to cobble together a 2-card combo through discard and removal like Abrupt Decay.
So Splinter Twin was the fresh draw. Island, Snapcaster Mage, a Lightning Bolt, Spell Snare. Looks like he's going to go with Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah, I think this is to set up a Liliana the Veil and try and protect it.
Bernard will draw. Picked up a Tasigur. There's an island, and here is Tasigur.
So this doesn't work out exactly as how John planned. You know, he still gets to play Liliana the Veil if he wants to, but instead of ticking up, putting it out of Lightning Bolt range, now he can use it to take care of Tasigur. And
then Lightning Bolt can finish off the Liliana. But not a bad exchange there if you're Westberg.
No, not really. I mean, you know, you give him a reasonable way to use his Lightning Bolt, but you end up getting a 2-for-1 out of the deal.
Westberg going to figure out what land he wants to search up with the Verdant Catacombs. Looks like he's leaning towards Overgrown Tomb, but it might be a Godless Shrine to give him white mana. And it appears it will be Godless Shrine.
This is the reason why Liliana the Veil is so good. You ever can manipulate the board to be in a spot where they have one big creature and you get to take it out and you have that Planeswalker still hanging around, like that's the best spot to be in.
Yep. Westberg will untap. It's time to draw. Picked up a Temple Garden. Mana will not be an issue for John anymore as he sacrifices another Verdant Catacombs. We'll see what land he wants to search up here. He'll go with a basic forest. And now here's Liliana. That'll take care of Tasigur. He'll be down to 1. Lightning Bolt, as you mentioned, can't finish it off. But we're going to head back Warren Bernard's way. He'll draw. Don't get a great look at the draw step there. Looks like it's a Kolaghan's Command.
That's a good one. I mean, he can use that to finish off Liliana instead if he wants to. Bring back the Tasigur. Graveyard's a little light at this point. And it looks like Warren's going to be missing his land drop, so it might be a couple turns before that Tasigur comes back down.
It looks like it's going to be Kolaghan's Command. 2 damage to Liliana. Get back Tasigur. Pretty straightforward stuff there. And we're going to go back John Westberg's way. He'll untap and draw. Picked up a copy of Thoughtseize. You see how powerful the discard is in this matchup. Westberg going to ask Bernard how many cards he has in his hand, but John's got a pretty good idea of exactly what exactly what Bernard's working with. See, he's going to update his little guide here. He might not have any interest in Thoughtseizing at all.
It's possible. I mean, I feel like he wants to play Lingering Souls this turn. He doesn't have the mana to flashback it, so yeah, I think you just want to use Thoughtseize to clear out the Tasigur, the other cards. You know, they're magic cards. They have text, but they're not really relevant with what's going on right now.
You know, all reactive stuff. Bolt over there, Spell Snare, Splinter Twin, part of the combo.
Yeah, which has no targets, and Bernard doesn't even have the second red yet.
No. Verdant Catacombs here from Westberg. We'll bring him down to at least 12. See, he's got a Stirring Wildwood in there. He's going to go with a basic Swamp. Spirit Tokens on the way here from Lingering Souls. And now we go over to Bernard. See if he's found a fourth land just yet.
Yeah, as is the case most of the time, I think the Grixis deck just wants to draw Serum Visions. You know, try and cobble together some semblance of a plan, because right now he's just kind of all over the place.
The blue deck is looking for a cantrip, you say?
Yeah, it's weird, right?
It is very strange. Here's an attack for 2. Bernard's going to fall down to 17. Looks like it might be time to flash back Lingering Souls, and it is. Can't Spell Snare that one. Base casting cost is 3. So 2 spirits are not on the way.
Can remand it.
Yes, you can. Temple Garden the land. Pass the turn back over to Bernard. Looks like he might have land number 4 now. He picked up a copy of Pluto Delta, which is convenient. It's also the second red source there for Splinter Twin. His hand looks to be a little Spell Snare heavy, however. Though Tarmogoyf being the draw step is pretty good if you're Bernard. You have a clean answer to that card.
Yeah, I mean, anytime your opponent draws a card that just trades with a card in your hand, I think you're pretty happy with that.
Westberg does have a land to play as well. I think he's maybe considering playing the Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, right now Westberg's aware of one Spell Snare, not the second one, so maybe he's just like, well, maybe if I draw an Inquisition, I can use that and maybe force through the Tarmogoyf. And right now, there's really no reason to just play the Tarmogoyf into the Spell Snare you know is there.
Blood Crypt is the land here from Bernard. Again, that's the second source of red mana. So his mana is online now, at least it appears that way. The draw was the Serum Visions. There you go, that's what you wanted. Time to draw, and now take a look at the top 2. Those cards will stay on top from the scry. Steam Vents, the land. It'll enter the battlefield tapped. And now we'll head back Westberg's way, but on Bernard's end step, he's going to sacrifice that Windswept Heath, so down to 11.
Yeah, now we have a game going.
Yeah, it's a pretty grindy one, but this matchup kind of feels this way a lot, I think. There's nothing particularly quick about it.
Yeah, I feel like Jund is a little bit more aggressive. You know, they have a lower mana curve overall, lightning bolts to close out the game, whereas the Abzan deck is a little bit more grindy with the Lingering Souls. Games can tend to drag on a little bit longer.
But the appeal of playing Abzan over Jund appears to be Lingering Souls.
Yes, absolutely. In theory, that's supposed to give you an edge in the green-black mirrors.
Abrupt Decay, Tarmogoyf in Westberg's hand. Just searched up an Overgrown Tomb. Now it's time to draw a card. Aha.
Oh my.
Oh. The Ghost Council, huh?
No amount of Spell Snares is going to take that thing down.
First things first, here come the beatdowns. Now what's interesting is if Westberg actually wants to cast Obsidian right now, Because if he plays it, then the Abrupt Decay shield's down, and he could just die to Deceiver Exarch plus Splinter Twin.
It's true. Yeah, he's like, where'd you put those cards off Serum Visions?
Hey, let them on top. This is always the tricky part about playing against Twin, because you always feel like you can just die at any time.
Yeah. But, I mean, Westberg knows 3 out of the 4 cards.
Very true.
So, all right. If you have exactly Deceiver Exarch in your hand, or Pestromite, I suppose.
Then I'm dead. Because I know you have a Twin over there.
And that's fine, but, you know, how long can Westberg wait around with this 5-mana sorcery in his hand, especially after his opponent just kept 2 cards on top?
It's also incredibly powerful if it resolves and you don't die.
Right, you might just win the game on the spot.
And it has resolved, and Westberg is not going to die. So, that's going to come in, a little drain, a little gain, and now it's going to phase out, and it'll be coming back with haste next turn.
And another drain.
Very true. I feel bad for Ghost Council Varzova. Just gone. Just doesn't matter. That card was really good.
It was.
Back in the day, which was a decade ago. Opposite odds back. Drain gain, put you to 8.
Now Bernard can take down the Obzidot with a Lightning Bolt and Kolagon's command, but the drain for 4 was huge.
Yep. Changed this game quite a bit.
And I like doing this now in the upkeep. You never know if Westberg's going to draw something like Gavany Township and put it out of range.
Yep. Kolagon's command looking to finish off the Ghost Council. It's also going to return Tassiger. Draw step. Obs on Charm. That would have done it too.
Not a Township,
Yep.
but that would have been it.
I'm curious how he wants to go about using this card.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of modes. Bernard's currently at 8. Could try and put his opponent on a 2-turn clock. And maybe that's better than just drawing 2 cards.
I think you know what I would do.
I mean, you would get in there.
One way. Split those counters up. Let's get them dead.
But I mean, you could also just save it to kill the Tasker you know is in your opponent's hand.
Well, I'm not saying that's not right. That probably is the right use of the card.
You just know what you would do.
I just don't want to play any more turns. I just want to get him dead, man.
Yeah.
I want to finish him off. He's going to slow play this Obs on Charm a little bit.
I mean, what's the worst thing that happens, right? Like, you can even play Tarmogoyf first to bait out the Spell Snare so your opponent doesn't have a Lightning Bolt mana open. You can distribute the counters 1 and 1, attack your opponent down to 4, and then even if they have a Lightning Bolt, you still have a 2-turn clock left over.
Yeah. Here's Tassiger. Going to delve away quite a few cards. Leave a Lightning Bolt and a Kolagon's command in the graveyard.
Some stuff to kill these spirits. Here it is, the 1 of Abzan Charm in Westberg's list.
Love it.
It's always really fun when you see these cards that you think are only playable in Standard make their way into Modern.
Obs on Charm's a really good card.
It is.
Westberg will draw. Still has Abrupt Decay and Tarmogoyf in hand. Beatdowns. Bernard's going to fall down to 4 now. Marsh Flats was the draw. Westberg's just going to pass the turn back. He can't cast that Tarmogoyf, at least he feels very strongly that he can't, because he's just not going to run it into a Spell Snare.
Oh, it might be worth it on this turn, maybe, to make your opponent use one of their mana.
Looks like Kolagon's command may have been the draw. Yep. Heck of a Magic card right there.
Yeah, that's how these games get so grindy.
Looks like Bernard's just going to pass the turn back. Westberg will draw. Another Tarmogoyf. Now we might see him cast him.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately for him, he's probably going to run into the second copy of Spell Snare that he doesn't know about.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Bernard's sitting over there with like, oh man, I have these Spell Snares. They're not doing anything.
I have Tarmogoyfs, they're not doing anything. I have Spell Snares, and they're not doing anything. Well, it looks like we got a Snapcaster Mage. It's going to target a Lightning Bolt. The Lightning Bolt's going to try to take down a Spirit. It will successfully do that, yes. But you see the way he's tapped his mana.
Yeah.
Not leaving up double blue. Westberg's going to try to deploy Tarmogoyfs now. I'm going to start by playing Marsh Flash, a play I like a lot because it's very clear he's trying to play around Mana Leak.
Mm-hmm.
So there's Tarmogoyf. Yep, Spell Snare will take care of that.
Yeah, Westberg knew that was going to happen.
Now here's another Tarmogoyf. And that will resolve. And you can see where Bernard took a moment to figure out how he wanted to tap his mana.
And his option was leave open 2 blue-red duels or leave open the Blood Crypt and potentially represent something else. And given the way the game is played out, he has no reason to believe that both his Spell Snares will be live this turn.
Sure. So now there's a 5/6 Tarmogoyf on the battlefield. And now all Bernard can do is pass the turn back. Westberg, with an Abrupt Decay in hand, picked up a copy of Goblet Shrine. Perhaps he's going to get aggressive here with this Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, he could use it to try and clear the way for a lethal attack, but I don't think there's any need.
Looks like Snapcaster Mage is going to get blocked. 1 damage is going to come across. Bernard going to go down to 2. Westberg will pass the turn back. Pretty comfortable. Looks like Kolaghan's command is going to work its way into the equation here. Deal 2 damage to the Spirit Token. And return Snapcaster Mage.
Yeah, so even if John used the Abrupt Decay to clear a path, you know, if Warren needed to, he could still rebuy the Snapcaster Mage and replay it out just as a chump blocker.
Yep.
And then, you know, his shields would be down, but Westberg doesn't have anything to do anyway. And then he'd be out in Abrupt Decay, and then if Warren drew something like a Deceiver Exarch, then he might potentially just die to the combo.
Yep. So he's definitely still playing the Abrupt Decay, and I think rightfully so. John wants to see what's in the graveyard. So does Warren. Both players working with pretty stocked graveyards at this point.
The grind fest.
Yeah, this is normal for this matchup. It's just not fast. It's a lot of trading of resources. Here's Tassiger. Delve away the entire graveyard. Large exile pile now here from Warren Bernard.
Oh, it's third Tasker of the game?
Yep. Yep. But a 4/5 doesn't line up that well against a 5/6. Scavenging Ooze the draw. Pretty nice one to have.
Yeah, I mean, Warren still has that Spell Snare.
Yep. And this is a Spell Snare that John doesn't know about.
Correct. Yeah, at this point he knows about a Splinter Twin, I believe.
Snappy.
This might be a double block.
That's exactly what it is. Abrupt Decay is going to blow this up. And he's going to concede the game right away. Maybe a little bit of surprising concession there right away.
A little bit. I mean, maybe he could draw a Terminate or something like that, get right back into it.
Could draw a Deceiver Exarch.
True.
Yeah, tap down that Tarmogoyf when it attacks next turn. But a concession is what it's going to be. So John Westberg's going to win game number 1 here over Warren Bernard. I was on up a game over Grixis Twin. And if you thought the first game was grindy, I think it's about to get more grindy as we take a look at the sideboards here for each player. Nothing short about this matchup. We'll start with Warren Bernard. He's got 2 negates, 2 dispels, 2 blood moons, 2 anger of the gods, 2 Ashiok Nightmare Weaver, Rakdos Charm, Jace Architect of Thought, a Keranos God of Storms, Relic of Progenitus, and engineered explosives. He could really slow his deck down.
Yeah, so the combo is difficult to assemble against these green-black decks. So I would expect most pieces of that to leave. Sometimes some players keep in like a Miser Splinter Twin because they might end up having to keep in some of the Deceiver Exarchs anyway, and sometimes you Splinter Twin a Snapcaster Mage, you know? But I would expect most of the pieces to leave. The Planeswalkers will likely come in, the Jace, the 2 Ashioks, also the Keranos, and I believe Warren is going to turn to Blood Moon. Despite Westberg actually being able to fetch up a bunch of basics in game 1, I think it's still a really potent tool in this matchup. And things like Engineer Explosives, Relic of Progenitus, Negate, those could also come in.
Other side of things for John Westberg, he's got a Celestial Purge, a Golgari Charm, a Gideon Jura, along with a Timely Reinforcements, a Dark Blast Liliana Veil, 3 Stony Silence, 2 Duress, 2 Obstinate Baloth, and then 2 Grafdigger's Cage.
So key thing about Celestial Purge, exile. So it gets rid of Keranos.
Okay, that's important.
Yes, definitely. And then it kind of depends on how grindy John thinks the matchup is going to be. Like sometimes you just have to operate under the assumption that they have the Splinter Twin combo in their deck, and people are a little too scared to side in things like Gideon Juro, which might be good against the post-board configuration, but it's not good against their Game 1 configuration.
Okay.
But, like, you wouldn't want to start that card against a Splinter Twin deck and be like, yeah, this is how I beat Splinter Twin with Gideon Juro. You know, like, that's just not a real thing. But in the post-board games, it kind of is. Like, Gideon would be a very potent threat in this matchup. But I'm not sure if John's going to go that route or not. 2 Duress, those are pretty safe. The 4th Liliana the Veil, also pretty safe. Yeah, that's about it. Not a ton of help here.
The discard looked good in Game 1.
Absolutely.
So I expect to see some more of it coming in here for Westberg.
Yeah, and this matchup, like, the game goes on long, but the discard is still pretty reasonable top deck in the mid to late game.
Well, as these players shuffle up here for game number 2, Warren Bernard will be on the play. We'll take a look at the Season 4 schedule here on the Open Series. We were in Atlanta a couple weeks ago where Jacob Lively got the job done with Green-White Megamorph, which had a nice influence on Pro Tour Battle for Zendikar. Then we had some legacy action in St. Louis where Tom the Boss Ross with Infect got the job done and got himself 25 Open Series points and a hefty chunk of change there in $5,000. We're here in Dallas, and we'll crown a champion here soon enough. Someone's getting out of here with $5,000, 25 Open Series points, an invite to our Season 4 Invitational. Philadelphia next weekend will be brought to you by Patrick Sullivan and Matthias Hunt, where we'll have some standard action. After that, we'll have a sealed Grand Prix in Atlanta. StarCityGames.com/GP Atlanta for more information about that tournament. Then we'll have a standard Open Series in Kansas City, a Legacy Open Series in New Jersey, the most beautiful state in the United States.
So I've heard.
I'm a big fan. Love Jersey. Standard Open Series in Denver. And then we'll have our Season 4 Invitational in Las Vegas, a standard modern invitational with a standard top 8, along with the standard Open Series event December 11th and the 13th. And then to wrap it all up for the year, Players Championship in Roanoke, Virginia, December 19th and 20th at the Star City Games Center. Myself, Patrick Sullivan, Matthias Hunt will be bringing you that end of the year tournament with 16 competitors and $50,000. See if Brad Nelson, our defending Players Champion, can do it again and go back-to-back Shahar Shenhar style. Should be a lot of fun to watch.
He will.
Or you're just going to lock it in.
Soft lock.
You're just going to lock it in right now. He's just that we can just don't have to play the tournament. Champion right there. I think a player like Jacob Wilson might have something to say about that.
We'll see.
Game number 2 here between Warren Bernard and John Westberg. We got some new blood, man, at the Players Championship. I'm excited.
Me too.
Got Jacob Wilson, who we haven't seen before. Jim Davis, who we have, but he's looking to improve on last year. We'll have Alian Shirazi, who we've seen before. Kevin Jones, who we have, is looking to improve on last year's performance. And then Danny Jessup, who we haven't seen before. And then kind of the unknown of the whole thing, Alex Bostecki, who won that Season 3 Invitational, beat Steve Mann in the final. Steve Mann, big favorite coming into that match, given his Open Series success. But Bostecki, after being down 2 games, rallied all the way back. And he's going to be going to the Players' Championship. So
Yeah, Alex does a lot of judging, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when he plays, he always seems to turn it on, you know? Like, when he gets the chance to play, he makes it count.
In the finals of the Season 3 Invitational, when he's down 2 games, mulligan quite a few times in those 2 games, and then was mulliganing to 6 in Game 3, would have been really easy to just throw in the towel.
Yeah,
and
just like, that's it. That's my tournament.
Yeah,
you know?
this is not my tournament to win. You know, I had a great run, and he just it's really kind of understated. It's just to be able to just kind of fight back like that is actually pretty impressive. When you're in a set against someone who's as good as Steve Mann, he's up 2 games. The matchup might be a little unfavorable. It's debatable, and then you're just mulliganing again. I think he went mulligan to 6, mulligan to 5 Game 2, and then mulligan to 6 Game 3. It's just like, dude, all right, fine, you just win.
Yeah, I'm off it.
It's fine. I'll walk out of here with like a pretty good amount of money, a good weekend, you know, a trophy to put on my mantle. It's fine. And he just clawed all the way back, played a really, really, really good Game 5. And now he's got a germ token, 10 grand, going to the Players' Championship, all that stuff.
I think it was the germ token. That's the thing that makes you not give up.
That's what kept him in it? Well, someone who has 2 Star City Games likenesses on a card.
I only earned one of them, to be fair.
That's true. You did earn the avatar. If you could have another one, what would it be?
Thopter.
Okay. You can just do that right away.
It's gotten to the point where, you know, it was already close that it was going to be a Thopter.
Okay.
Because of the Dark Depths, you know, Thopter,
Yeah,
combo,
Thopter Finder, yep.
And now it's just like Thopters are all over the place. Hangerback Walker, come on.
Yeah. Some robot Jerry's out there.
I actually assumed that when Alex won, he was going to make a Thopter token because it's kind of the obvious choice at this point.
We're going to see a little bit of shortcutting here with the Scalding Tarn. Inquisition and Kozilek Center reveal. Remand, which goes to the graveyard, Lightning Bolt, and then an island, a mountain, another island, and a Steam Vents. So that's the grip.
Yeah, so I think Bernard was kind of leaning on Remand to do some work here with this hand. You know, get him through a few extra cards, maybe get a little something going.
So that'll be the land that he found from the Scalding Tarn. It's Watery Grave yet again. Bernard will draw a card, picked up a copy of Tassiger. He's almost there again. It's actually laughable how easy that card is.
It's not tough.
Yeah, it's just 3 mana 4/5 with relevant text. Stirring Wildwood is land number 2 here for Westberg. Bernard going to take a look at the creature land. We can do the same. One of the original 5. 3/4. Can't forget the thing's got reach in there too.
Really good against Delver. Blocks Restoration Angel.
Yep.
Chump blocks Celestial Colonnade. You can't have it all.
That's true. You don't get to win every battle.
But it is relevant. Relevant text.
What if it was a 3/5?
Well,
Blocks.
then they just bounce, I guess.
Yeah, it's cool. They just run into each other. Nothing happens. Got to block. Gets to block Siege Rhino if it was a 3/5.
Some players turning towards Shambling Vent now in these Abzan decks. Kind of favor the Wildwood.
I kind of like the Vent though.
The Vent is good.
Yeah, that's a good card.
It is definitely good enough for Modern.
Here's Lingering Souls.
I also think that if, some of these green-black decks could play Lumbering Falls, they would also do it. They don't necessarily want to play blue cards, but if they could just activate Lumbering Falls in their deck, they might play that over, say, Raging Ravine and Jund.
Okay. Well, I'm actually excited to see what the green-black creature land's going to be.
Me too.
Because a lot of these decks in Modern could use it. If it's good, that's going to be like a pretty quick slot in.
Yeah. And for that reason alone, maybe they can't make it too good. you know?
Yeah. Yeah, they could just play Svaktos.
Sure.
The big fella. Here's Tassiger. I think green-black normally gets a bad deal on their
does.
specialty lands. There's like Svaktos. There's Grim Backwoods.
Yep.
I think that's about it. And they normally get a raw deal on those.
There aren't even that many great green-black gold cards, right? There's Abrupt Decay. That's the big one.
Okay.
And then, Golgari Charm sees some sideboard play.
Yeah, I guess green. Pernicious Deed was good.
That's way back. I mean, obviously they would play it if it were legal.
Yeah, that card was good.
We wouldn't lose to allies anymore.
We as a community. We as a green-black community would beat them. Here's Path to Exile and Tassiger.
I am very much in the green-black community.
Old Cedric was.
Yeah. Flow Rock.
Yeah, monster of the mid-range.
I remember you taking down some PTQs.
That deck was horrible. Shamefully bad. But a win's a win. Here's a Tassiger. I was born and raised on black-green decks. All my friends in Ohio who taught me how to play Magic, they tricked me. Why couldn't they teach me how to play blue at the start?
I don't know.
I don't understand. Everyone in Ohio was so anti-blue. Now I'm just always going to be behind.
Yeah, you might as well not even try at this point, right?
Well, I'm just not going to play blue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bernard, we know, has quite a few lands in hand. There's a Snapcaster Mage over there, but he's behind on the board right now. Things have been kind of picked apart a little bit here.
Yeah, his Tasker died. Westberg played his own.
There's just Sulfur Falls. Does Warren have anything to do here this turn? Got a Lightning Bolt, Snapcaster Mage, I think a Spell Snare, and a couple lands in hand. We could see Bolt, Snap, Bolt to get Tasker off the battlefield. I guess that's not horrible. I don't know if that's the best. I don't know if this is something, an exchange that Warren is happy with, but it does get Tasker out of here.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a necessity if you're going to try and win this game. You can't just let Tasker run rampant. You start drawing extra cards.
Looks like Lingering Souls we're going to come across again. Lingering Souls is so interesting to me. It's just, the card's clearly very powerful. I think it's just kind of undervalued. Just 2/1/1 spirits are a lot better than I think people realize.
It is. The cards just kind of like add up to do a lot of different stuff. It's like you can take out a 4/4 by jump blocking. Like you have these things that attack and block really well. Like, well, if 4/1/1s is good, 6 is better.
Yeah, now he's just got 6 power on the battlefield.
It's just really hard to win a race or to lose a race when you have 4/1/1 flyers.
Here's a Serum Visions from Bernard off the top. He's drawn a card. Now he's got to figure out how he wants to scry. Gonna leave them both on top. That's a little scary. Kolagon's Command was the find.
That is scary, especially when you have 6/1/1 flyers in play. You're like, What does my opponent have?
Yeah, is there a Static Caster coming? Anger of the Gods? Radiant Flames? Who knows? In the meantime, Westberg just going to untap, picked up a copy of Golgari Charm.
Well, if there is an Anger of the Gods coming, that's a pretty good answer.
Yeah, Regenerate is nice. I think this might be the most underrated charm.
This charm has seen main deck play.
It's really
in some
good.
spots.
It's really good.
And you can't say that about a lot of the charms.
It sees play across. It saw play across 3 formats:
Right.
Standard, Modern, and Legacy. I don't know if it sees play in Vintage. I'm not well versed in that format. It wouldn't surprise me though. There's an attack for 6. Bernard's going to go down to 9. They're stirring Wildwood. 2 of those in his deck this weekend. Excuse me, 3.
Oh, Jun plays 4 Raging Ravines.
That's true.
Abzan can play 3 creature lands as well.
Yeah.
Oh, the engineered explosives.
Okay.
It all makes sense.
Bernard going to take a look at Stirring Wildwood. 3/4 reach. There's explosives. 0 Sunburst.
So last game we saw Bernard take out Obsidian on the upkeep. And now it would certainly be beneficial for him to take out the engineered explosives to kill the spirits on upkeep. Or at least sometime on Westberg's turn, you know?
Yeah.
Like some people would just be like, okay, here's my explosives. I'll play it and pop it. And then Westberg's like, regenerate all my creatures, untap, get to attack you.
Please raise your hand and call for a judge.
And at least this way, now they have to tap down when they regenerate.
Yep. Here's an attack for 6. Here comes your explosives activation. And G-Charm is here.
Oh, there's a spell snare.
Okay. All right. All the spirits are going to die. Now, we can't forget, Westberg still does have a Lingering Souls in the graveyard.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to decide to save that one when your opponent is facing down 6 spirits and they keep a card on top with Serum Visions. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know something is coming. Maybe we don't have to flash back this one.
And that's an Overgrown Tomb. Oh, yeah. Oh, Daddy's home. Here's Obsidian again. This is Modern, by the way. Where last round we just saw 2 turn 3 kills. Now we got Obsidian in the house.
I also saw the Gideon Jura in Westberg's deck when he was shuffling.
Yes! Give me some of that. Talk about cards I've never beaten before.
Obsidian?
And Gideon.
Okay. I've seen you beat Obsidian before.
Can't ever beat a Gideon. Oh my gosh.
Do you remember when you beat Obsidian?
I do. My opponent played a second one.
Yep, that's how.
In sealed deck.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice of them to do that. I was very dead.
You were very happy after that happened, too.
Somewhat pleased. It's back. There's a trigger. Now, it looks like Warren Bernard drew a copy of Terminate, so does have an answer to that. I'll see you later.
That's good. You're not dead immediately, but you still have to contend with 2 Stirring Wildwoods, a Lingering Souls in the graveyard. You only have 5 life points left.
Yeah, the thing about Obsidian is just never runs out of stuff to do, it appears.
A lot of really good mana sinks in this deck.
Wildwood's going to stir up. Into the red zone. Snapcaster Mage is blocking. Stirring Wildwood wins that war. Follow up. Flashback Lingering Souls. 2 spirits on the way, assuming this resolves. And it will. Westberg going to take a look at the graveyard. Remember, he does have Kolaghan's Command in hand. So he will use Kolaghan's Command. Finish off Stirring Wildwood. Get back Snapcaster Mage. And now John wants to see what Warren has to flash back. Quite a few options down there. There's a Serum Visions off the top. Going to cast that. Draw a card right away. Scry 2. Last time he scryed 2, he kept both cards on top very quickly. Now, in that scry, there was a Jace Vryn's Prodigy. So we'll see what he wants to do here. He's going to leave 1 on top. 1's going to go to the bottom. Vision's done resolving.
Now, seeing the power of Kolaghan's Command in this match.
It's a good Magic card.
Yeah. Just being able to turn your Snapcaster Mage in play into something valuable. Like, a 2/1 is fine, but he got to use that in combination with the Kolaghan's Command to take down the creature land, then return the Snapcaster Mage to his hand, and now he can just flashback Kolaghan's Command if he wants to.
Here's Snappy. Kolaghan's Command. Going to take down one Spirit. Make Westberg discard as well. It's just a land in Westberg's hand.
But I like him holding that because otherwise there's a chance that Warren could have used Kolaghan's Command in John's draw step to make him discard his card for the turn.
What do we have here? Thoughtseize. What's that card? Snapcaster Mage. Remember, Bernard left his card on top from the Serum Visions.
Yeah.
Wildwood coming in along with the Spirit token. Bernard could fall down to 1.
And if he did keep the Vryn's Prodigy on top, now he's basically just dead. So it has to be something good.
I think he realized he may have made a mistake there. I think he did leave Jace on top, yeah.
Yeah, but so he could have blocked Snapcaster on the Wildwood, but the next turn he would also have to block the Wildwood with Jace.
Yep.
That would give him an extra turn, but he has to come up with something even better.
And then the extra turn would have netted a Spell Snare.
Okay.
That was the next card down. So, Warren Bernard is going to lose this match. John Westberg is your winner. Abzan will take care of Grix's twin. 2-0. So, for John Westberg, Hearthstone Pro, and also did play on the World Magic Cup team for Sweden. He's 9-2-1 here in Dallas and still in top 8 contention. If he can rally off a couple more wins, we'll see him in the elimination rounds.